Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fire525. Hello and welcome to yet another pubcast. And today's game was requested by a Mr. TK Dota, who we can see over on that Radiant side. Just getting right into things. We already got that Huskar pickup. Huskar, of course, probably the most hated hero at the moment. Maybe Spirit Breaker a little more so. But either way, both are very much reviled heroes. The thing with Huskar though is that he is countered by physical damage or pure damage. He struggles to really carry into the late game, and when you're looking at an LD and Doom, he may well have issues. Apologies, I believe I'm getting feedback from my stream. Indeed. Fix that issue now. So, I mean, it is an all-pick game. It's a pub all-pick game as well, so I have no idea if the picks are actually going to be coordinated at all. Certainly on Radiant doesn't look like it. I mean, so far we have got 3 physical damage heroes. Now, the upside to that is, of course, you have a lot of ways to deal with that Huskar. Because the worst thing to go up against Huskar with is a 4-int team or 5-int team, because he will just rip you apart and get away with a smidgen of HP that you've got no hope of removing from him. However, against Lysilla, very powerful in terms of physical DPS. Against an OD as well. And nice Huskar player. There's the call out we're talking about. He is the new Phantom Lancer. He's the new Lycan. He is the new hero that everybody loves to hate. And it is always a little bit amusing when somebody randoms the hero, as indeed Mr. Thos did. And then gets called out for it. Anyway. Huskar is, I mean, as much as people like to hate him, Huskar is a fun hero if you can get that fast Aghanims up. You just bounce around like a bunny rabbit. And, I mean, you compare him to a hero like, I don't know, the Nyx, who isn't quite as fun. A hero like the Phantom Lancer who just farms. Huskar can actually be quite an enjoyable hero mid-game to play. It's not just about winning, I don't think. It does actually look like we're going to be seeing that OD mid, and that last pick has come out now, the ET. So you've got a lot of physical damage. ET often transitions into that semi-carry role. I mean, he can do quite well as a support. Certainly the Spirit, Aura, and his ulti are all nice setups. They amplify a lot of damage, especially Lifestealer. You consider that Feast damage is reduced by armor. So if you can get a good Aura on people, Lifestealer's damage will pretty much double. OD doesn't really benefit, but the Doom and LD certainly will, also dealing physical damage. Now, we're still waiting on that last pick from Pink. In the meantime, I'll just run over the Radiant side. We're going to be looking at TK on that Lifestealer. He's going to go bot. No bits, as I said before, on the OD. Mid lane, burning your soul on the Lone Druid. Almost certainly going to off lane. Subtle's still yet to pick a lane, I assume going bot as nice spot. And that'll leave... I'm not going to try with that. On the Doom, he will almost certainly be jungle. Meanwhile, we have got that pickup now. Ying going to play the Abaddon, heading into that bot lane. Robex going into that top with Kunkka, the Bloodseeker. I am curious as to whether this is the actual Bloodseeker of Play Dota fame. But anyway, he's going to be on the Pugna. Fuzzy P on the Crystal Maiden, top lane supporting Kunkka. And finally that Huskar mid against OD. Now, typically you do see that Kunkka picked against the OD in that mid lane, because he is quite strong in terms of pressure. Huskar shouldn't have too hard a time of things either, but he is actually taking quite a bit of damage. Already forced to pop that south, so that's a little bit of a misplay there. But Huskar shouldn't really struggle against OD. He doesn't rely on mana to control the lane. At the same time, OD may opt to take a couple of early points in Orb, because against a Lifestealer, you're dealing pure damage. That can really melt him, and it's a good way to burst him down. Pure damage, one of these strengths. In this top lane, LD, I mean, it looks like he's going for the creep pull, although he has missed it, sending the bear there now. He should be okay here, provided Christopher doesn't get in range from Frostbite, but generally that's not going to happen as long as Lone Druid does manage to pull those creeps, although actually in some trouble now, being forced back by the Christoman. Do me farming away in that jungle. I mean, he should get relatively uncontested free farm. One of the problems with not running a Trilane is that it's more difficult. Out comes the Torrent though, and Frostbite's going to follow indeed, and down Burning is going to go. First blood for Kunkka, and a nice Torrent by him. Nice harass by Christoman earlier as well, getting him to the point that, and he was a little bit out of position there. Lone Druid, that is. So that is going to inhibit his farm. I mean, first blood at 2 minutes in, certainly not the position you want to be in as a lone druid, especially against a dual lane. Against a trail lane, that'd certainly be, it's certainly acceptable to give away 1 or 2 kills over the course of 10 minutes. But against a dual, generally lone druid shouldn't really struggle. Lysila, I mean, he's sitting at 7 last hit, so doing relatively well. Kunkka is leading the way, however. Kunkka is a mid-game hero in terms of what he does. While he can carry decently coming to late game with Tidebringer, he has the same issue, and now Ying in some trouble. Open wounds on him. It will be able to get away though, popping the shield and actually turning around. The shield's about to pop though. One more hit should do it indeed. There we go. Bloodseeker opting to go for Decrepify at level 2, which I say is the better choice against Lysila, especially during these early levels. Allow you to get some distance from the hero, and when you consider that AT, once he's thrown the spirit out, doesn't really have any magical damage. Ying actually going very far in, and open wounds there could have caught him, considering we don't have mana for that shield. Back into that mid lane, Huskar playing with the runes quite a bit. We still get that haste early, now going for the inverse rune, just scouting around, leeching XP at this point. Is leading a little bit in terms of last hits, 9 to 8, gets imprisoned as soon as he reveals himself from invisibility. And I don't think Huskar will struggle to actually find a kill in this lane. I think even with that ulti, he's probably going to have to roam, hope to get an invis rune or a haste rune, and then dive on the Kunkka. And if he goes for Kunkka, Kunkka will drop very quickly. Just imprisoned again, OD having a field day here. I mean, he has plenty of intelligence, but it doesn't really hurt Huskar's ability to last hit. As a strengther, as somebody with burning spears that doesn't actually cost mana, it costs H, he doesn't really have an issue pressuring OD as we're seeing here, although taking quite a bit of right click damage anyway. Now, Fuzzy P, she has Frostbite, she's going to use it. Bear gets resummoned, Torrent is there, but going to miss. Burning Sword in time, it might be in some trouble. The Bear actually blocking him, trying to get away, and one last hit by Christabaden will finish him off. Now Bloodseeker playing very aggressive, going in for TK. He does have Decrepify, but he can't get in range. Unfortunately, Lysila's boost just a little too much. ET is there, he's salving up. He wants to get a spirit, but he just doesn't have the mana, and TK looking to get something set up as well. Just got mana for open wounds. It's only level 2 though, so the range is basically still melee. Does look like Burning has been forced back, and that's his second death in 4 minutes, so really, really not his game. Now, you do, I mean, LD often does sacrifice himself. Even if you watch Bulldog, he can quite often go down once or twice in that offlane. But he still managed to find his farm. I think the problem is now Burning, he's in this lane, but he's not really finding any farm whatsoever. Indeed, you look at last hits down at 5. He'd probably be better off just sacrificing the tower at this point, going into the jungle. Because having, well, I was going to say feed, but he has given away 2 kills. There's no question about that. It'd be better for him just to back off, I think. Meanwhile, in terms of last hits, it'll be interesting to see a Lysa. I mean, I assume picking up the boots is going to get Decrepify blasted as well. Out comes the Miscoil. He's quite low, actually. And another combo like that might actually be enough to finish him off, although Miscoil is now on. Ying now does not have enough mana for that Miscoil. And Pugna, I believe, 105, 100. He does have enough mana for another blast decrep combo. Actually, having to take 2 points in decrep, which I don't really agree with. Decrepify is a fantastic skill with 1 point in it. It massively boosts your team's nuking power. It's decent slow. And also, if somebody like a Lysila dies on you, you can decrep yourself or you can decrep him. And it'll stop him from getting those attacks in. And especially consider, it might just be the combo with Huskar, that's the only thing I can think of. Because I do think coming into those mid-game fights, having those points in ward is a lot more beneficial than another few points into Decrepify. Especially when you consider going up against OD. Ward is famous for destroying OD. It's I'd say the second Ward counters OD harder than any other hero, bar perhaps Skywrath Mage, who also just blows himself up. I believe most people have seen that gif. Now, Lone Druid in Sun Trouble. In comes the boat, and is going to stun, and down goes LD. Crystal Maiden getting another kill for herself. Did actually look to be in quite a bit of trouble, but that boat was able to save her. Now the creeps coming in will allow her to escape, and we don't have any TPs to come in to punish that either. Looking at ET, got absolutely no items. I assume he's been pulling that Lifestealer. But now we're looking at 3. Out comes the ulti from OD mid lane. The orb is there. I has opted to level. The ulti is there now from Husker, but he's going to drop anyway. The burn might actually finish OD off, though, indeed. So a trade, and that's the first kill for Huskar's team for that dire side. I mean, he had to die for it, but it does still bring them back a little bit. The problem is he doesn't get XP for that. I think now with that level 6 he's going to be wanting to look to roam. Ying now in some trouble, trying to back away from TK and going to drop to a right click. Now, 2 kill. My apologies. Before I was saying Husker got the first kill in the game. A little bit of a brain fart there. It was actually OD, so we'll bring him back a little bit. And now we've got the one on Lifestealer as well. Doom still farming away in that jungle. He's picked it up, his gloves at home. He's about 200 away from that mine, so we'll have that up very shortly. Now the ulti there on Bloodseeker. Going to finish off Lone Jewel with the help of Crystal Maiden and slow into that life drain. Very, very powerful combo early on, and especially consider Lone Druid, poor Lone Druid, still only has a level 5. Meanwhile, Abaddon picking up a kill on Lifestealer. Huskar's ulti was used there, and I assume that just blew Lifestealer up. But we still don't have the ulti up on Lone Druid. He needs that to be bulky. He actually seems to be AFKing now. I'm not 100% sure why. Perhaps just fed up with his now 4 deaths. But the issue with Lone Druid is that he's in a weird sort of place in that he can't really, he kind of has to go into the lane. He's not like a Darkseer who can back off and just survive off levels. He does need gold. And now 2 roaming in on OD, who's very far out of position, still about 5 seconds away from that TP. Now a Torrent or an X, do we have X level? We don't. The boat don't have the mana for boat either. No Bits could potentially TP away here. Not going to, although Crystal Maiden in some trouble, trying to get away. We do have that Spirit, going to get used. And Spirit has come out from ET, taking... I'm not sure if that actually hit Crystal Maiden, to be honest. Didn't quite catch that. She did seem to walk into the range and not take damage, so I assume that's why one of the reasons she's so low. Now, 2 down bot. TP coming out from Doom. He does have a Doom of his own. Lifestealer wants to get a kill. Roaming in on Husker. Going to turn around and go for Ying instead. Doom going to go out on the Husker. Out jumps that Lifestealer, trying to go to work on Thos. Going to get killed first, but now Doom getting that kill. Going head on with Ying. Shield is popped. What balanced heroes you have, says TK. Very mad. It is, I do like in 6.79 that Berserker's Blood. He hasn't actually upped it to max Berserker's Blood. But shots fired in return, says Husker. And to be honest, I do agree. I think Husker is I think Knight's the stronger hero. Husker he's a broken hero. He's an imbalanced hero. He's not an OP hero. The problem is that he wrecks supports who go by themselves. He wrecks supports who rely on their magic damage, don't rely on their team. But against a balanced team, indeed, I think Husker will fail completely in competitive because he's not strong against stuns. He's not strong against physical damage, against tri-core lineups, which are very common in competitive. Last on the other hand, very, very strong in competitive, thanks to how well he can control the lane. He can go aggressive quite well with open wounds. He can play defensively thanks to Rage. Chris, meanwhile, picking up a kill on OD. But the one thing I do like about 6.79, Berserker's Blood now does get taken out by Doom. And that is a change I think was needed. In that last fight, we saw Husker out-man fight Lifestealer through a Doom simply because he wasn't getting silenced. He still had most of his damage thanks to that Berserker's Blood. So he was getting silenced. But, I mean, most of Husker was in that passive. And Doom's ult, and now the ulti coming out from Husker, going head-on Suttles, and he's going to drop counter there as well. All those creeps cleared, and they should be able to get this top tower now. It doesn't look like we have any real contest. Imprison now coming out in that mid lane. I believe that's on the Bloodseeker. Indeed, he reappears. Tries to decrypt to get himself away. Going to buy a little of time, but one more orb going to finish the job, and down he goes. It does actually look like Pugman now buying back, TPing in. Does he have ward leveled? He does indeed. It has been used though. Torrent coming out on Nobits. going for the Imprison. Nobits does have the ulti, but he doesn't want to use it against the lone Crystalline. That might be a snake though. Crystalline not quite able to finish him off actually. Wow, a lot of right click damage there. Meanwhile, Huskar picking up a kill on Doom. Huskar hunting around, he has that haste ring. Going back in, he wants to pick something up, going to ulti in on Burning. Quite low though, and indeed going to drop. Does manage to pick up the lone Druid. Elder Titan and Nyx the lone survivors. Nyx I don't think was in that fight. No indeed. Going for the gloves now I think, so probably building into the armor. It is at 11 minutes, a little too late for the Midas. Typically you would see that rushed if you wanted to go for it. But we will see what is going quite quickly. CML picking up her track. She is actually dealing a lot of right-click damage we saw there to OD, which is surprising because Crystal Maiden is famous for her low damage. Bloodseeker now might be in some trouble. He does go for the trap, trying to drain away no bits. He's going to get stomped though, going to interrupt that. OD could have actually attacked through that Crept Tower. Now in comes Crystal Maiden, and that will, I think, force no bits to turn around or go down. In fact, he does go for the ulti, picking up the Pugner, but goes down in return. But OD can actually, if he's decrepit, he can still attack by orb walking, I believe, as can Huskar. It's one of the reasons you often see that Ghost Scepter rushed on the Huskar. Speaking of Huskar, with this team, Conker, as I was saying earlier, is very much a mid-game hero. Although he does seem to be taking advantage of that, hunting for TK. Going to go for the Torrent and the bow. TK going to rage, able to get away. A little bit of a misplace with that Torrent Bonchi. The open wind's going to come out and just delay Robex a little bit. Going to get stomped now as well. In comes Abaddon. That's going to... Out comes the Doom now on Fuzzy P in a lot of trouble. She's a Crystal Maiden. She's been silenced. And this might be her death, although Doom doesn't seem to have a lot of damage at this point indeed. Only the Midas. Now caught between 5 heroes. Going to go down very sharply indeed. Huskar picking up the kill and Fuzzy P. Alright. Doom not sitting a lot of damage at the moment. He's picked up Thunderclap. Typically you do see that Centaur Stomp, although Thunderclap's certainly a useful ability on him as well. But the issue is in terms of right click, he just doesn't have that power yet. He will be looking for, well, he doesn't have his strategy, he's probably looking to pick up those little, he might go for Radiance, or potentially Assault Cuirass as the next item. Shadowblade also there as well, and indeed with a Nyx there, and Nyx has picked up the, actually going in on Bloodseeker, so hold that thought. Bloodseeker going for that life drain. He has popped the orb and melting away a little bit of HP. But now on the run, goes for the decrypt, and the Infest will actually help to finish him up. The Spirit actually getting the kill, but Crystal Maiden getting a kill on OD. Mima looking for a kill on Burning. Fuzzy P now on the run, surrounded by 4. She's going to go down. So, I mean, the OD drop there, you lose 2 supports, certainly, but OD is a mid-hero, and he's not doing well at all, now down at 5 deaths. He has got 3 kills. I did hear an ulti from Huskar, and he's going to dive in on Elder Titan, pick him up. Yin coming in with that invis as well. Huskar now sitting at 1600 gold, so we'll be seeing it. May have bought something out. It is indeed going to be the Ghost Scepter from there, probably the Armlet, although he might be opting for the... it is going to indeed be the Aghanim Rush. Now, this does mean he has a lot of power mid-game, and with that Conker, I think they just need to be looking to continually pressure what the Radiant side has, because with that Nyx, with that Doom, with that Lone Druid, you've got a lot more late game power, you've got a lot more split pushing power, sorry, and thanks to that Lone Druid. Now, OD typically falls off as a carry simply because BKB does counter him. However, you've got a Huskar, you've got a Conker. Neither of those heroes really prefers to get a BKB. They might be forced into it, certainly, but it's not an optimal item for them. And so because of that, OD is also going to be a threat coming into the later stage of the game as he picks up his Sheepstick and so forth. Going for an Imprison on the Abaddon there, I believe. Out of here he comes, now surrounded by 2. Right clicks alone might be enough to finish off. The ulti has been popped, and indeed it's going to drop to Lone Druid. Ulti now comes out from Nobits, trying to go tail to table with Thos. The Entangled is there, and Thos will drop. OD actually managing to imprison himself, but will go down to Burning Spears anyway. Now we do have 3 chop. This might well be a T2 tower for them. I mean, you've got a Pugman there, massive pushing power. TK doesn't look like he wants to respond, and OD is down. Doom nowhere to be seen either. I do like this aggressive ward up in this jungle because mid-game is what Dire needs. this mid game is going to be very important for the Dire side. They just need to keep hammering into everything Radiant has, push down the towers. They have picked up that T2 as well, but go for the mid and really finish it before 30 minutes, because once we start to get those bigger items up on Lazilla, quite close, he has indeed. Now out comes the boat on him, not going to Lando, will speed up both Bloodseeker and Kunkka though. Now the open wind's coming out on the Pugna, surrounded by 3. And won't, in fact, 1 right-click finishing him off. Actually, 2 kills for Pugna. Lone Druid, meanwhile, getting a kill on Kunkka, thanks to ET's Earth Splitter as well. That's another kill for Dire, and 3 kills for that support. Pugna has picked up a drums for himself. Actually going for the poor man's shield. I'm not 100% sure why, because he doesn't really benefit him that overly. I mean, he's a ranged hero. He doesn't need the Agi, certainly. Maybe to block some right-click damage from Lastfeel, I'm not sure. It is an odd item choice, though, I have to say. And anyway, Huskar now about halfway through his Aghanims, going head-to-head with Nobit's, going to pick him up as well. Slam dunk, says that Pugna. And indeed, Huskar just going to town now, sitting up at 9 for about 1,080 gold now away from the Aghanims from there. I would hope to see him go for a BKB, because he's certainly got, as Huskar, he has enough damage. TK talking about some kind of exploit, I'm not 100% sure. What, though? Potentially the armlet? Potentially the Ghost Scepter. Although I'm not 100% sure. I believe, possibly talking about 6.79 is the only thing I can think of. And TK now talking about bugs. I mean, combos in Street Fighter are bugs. Rocket jumping is based off of bugs. So, I mean, now Huskar does something, gets imprisoned. Now, Stomp going to get charged up, going to latch, now surrounded by 3. The ulti does come out from ET, going to land on Huskar, taking a bit of damage off. Not much though, thanks to that passive. Now surrounded by 3 heroes, might actually go down. The mech is popped, Huskar trying to get away. Burning very low, going to drop thanks to Burning Spheres, but now Thos doesn't have the armlet for toggling, so I think will drop it. And indeed, TK picking up the kill. Now Ying going in on TK, but going to drop. TK picking him up. Look, TK looks for a kill on Fuzzy, but not going to find it. I believe they're talking about Ghost Scepter. Well, I wouldn't call it a bug. It's simply a mechanic. And shots being fired at Lyseal. Yeah, I believe they're talking about the Ghost Scepter mechanic, which is, you know, if you Ghost Scepter with Huskar, or indeed with any hero with an orb, if you manually cast that orb, you can actually right-click people down. I believe you can do it with Frostbite as well. Doom now getting popped on the Bloodseeker, who's trying to get away. Should be okay with that, though. And he is indeed going for the Radiance as well. And indeed, with Fuzzy P there, Bloodseeker's not going to drop. And shots being fired all over the place. Okay. Yeah, so they are indeed talking about Ghost Scepter. I didn't actually see that there was a bug getting fixed on Huskar. So, I mean, I wouldn't consider it a bug, certainly. It's a mechanic from Dota, and it works not just with Ethereal, but with Frostbite, also with Treant's ulti. If you have an orb, Drow can do it as well as can Clinks. You can attack through that Frostbite, or Ghost Scepter, in fact. Now, the Stomp is going to be there from ET, going to catch True. The ulti's there from ET, he's going to throw it out. Now, instant trouble, Thos picking him up, ET ulti being 2 together. Thos looking for a kill. He has popped Ghost Scepter. This is going to be... He's about 700 gold away from the Aghanims, but with 20 seconds on that Ghost, he's going to be wanting to think before going in on Lystealer. Because if he doesn't have Ethereal, Ghost will absolutely tear him up. Although TK now having to back up, turning around, throwing out the open winds. Thos trying to get away. Thos... Out comes the Torrent, not actually going to land though. The boat there as well, missing. Ulti from Crystalmane, picking up a kill on Lone Druid. Now the Bloodseeker, he was imprisoned, and that's another 2 down, and this is an outer tower. Second T2 for the Dire side. They can probably rotate bot from here. I don't think they can go high ground at this point with 4 up. They are, I think they're talking about 6.79, because we are talking Axe anyway. Actually, they're just going to go straight for the throat, try and pick up that T3. All are up with the buyback from Lone Druid. Lone Druid, though, has basically no items at all. Beautiful stomp catching 4, but I don't think it has 11. Ulti now from OD. OD just gets blown up. The ward is there, and TK in a lot of trouble. Ying will actually manage to deny himself. And the kill on Huskar as well. Stomp there from ET, only going to hit creeps though. TK getting away with a smidgen of HP. And this might well be a T3. Pugner is there, he can throw out the blast. And Thos talking about the 4 carry pickup. And I mean, AT typically transitions in competitive game at least into that semi-carry role. Open is now there on the Bloodseeker. He's going to try and decrypt himself away. Goes for the ulti, unfortunately. And now going to go down. Unfortunately, that Rage does block Pugner's ulti. He's going to buy back almost immediately. And he's going for that Aghanim as well. I think he might just be buying whatever items he feels like, because he has picked up that Orb of Venom as well. TK talking about getting outplayed. Okay. So, trash talking all around. Huskar now picking up that Aghanims. More farm than your Kunker, he says. It's not really true, unfortunately. In terms of last hit, sitting about 30 behind. But there we go. Actually swap over to net worth. Indeed, in terms of net worth, also sitting behind. And Kunker, now he has picked up the Crystallis, probably going to be looking for that Demon Edge. Indeed, going to succeed in that. So he's about 700 gold now away. Rising P in sun trouble. Open wounds is there. Lifestealer not going to be able to finish her up. However, Stomp on the Bloodseeker. He has popped his ward down. So Radiant going to have to be very careful about picking a fight here. First now comes out from the Nikes, I think expecting a gank to come in. Going to pop out now. Open wounds is there. The Bloodseeker going to decrepify himself, but now surrounded. He will go down, I imagine. Although, getting through those trees, and now the Torrent and both going to land on Burning. In comes the Huskar as well, and this is a Huskar with an Aghanims. There we go, like a buddy, picking up no bits as well. 1 second until it's up, and there we go, 3 down. He might, and this has to be a T3 at this point, if not Rax. Dunks, says Huskar, and indeed, he's picked himself up an Aghanims. This is where Huskar becomes, well, just more of an arsehole than he already is, honestly. And go Blink, says ET, why not? Ulti now coming out from ET, he's actually going to land on that Crystal Main, but this is at least the melee Rax. There's nothing Nikes and ET can do by themselves. and Wish Dream did anything, says the Lifestealer. TK will actually manage to pick up the ward. Stomp landing on 3. We don't have the ulti from ET to follow up. The ulti from CM trying to buy some time. And Huskar picking up a kill on Doom, but Lifestealer now in some trouble, going to drop indeed. Out comes the ulti from OD, not quite able to finish up. Robex now down. TK goes down, buys back, looking for a kill on Fuzzy P, turning around on her. Wailing away with right-click damage. Huskar jumps on him, dealing no damage thanks to that Rage. Now Ying looking for a kill. He's going to get entangled. Ulti from Huskar once again, looking for a kill. Doesn't manage it though. LD actually getting the kill instead. Huskar picking out Lifestealer thanks to Burning Spears, however. And so, that was a 4-4-5 trade, I believe, because Lifestealer did buy back. But at the same time, you managed to pick up your T3, both your Rax, and this is 25 minutes in. A Rax is a pretty big deal, because that's massively going to hurt how well Lifestealer can farm. Now we are talking about Huskar's damage. Again, Huskar is, I mean, he's certainly a strong hero against this team until they get their items, because you don't have any stuns to lock him down. But once Nike starts to get a little bit bulky, he is indeed going for that chainmail. I assume this is, you typically don't see the blade mail on Lifestealer, probably going to be the AC, although generally with an AC, you will see that Hyperstone first. But at any rate, and now that Daedalus picked up on the Kunker. And now Lifestealer going, talking about the deaths of OD and Lone Druid. But okay. So Kunker, he has the Daedalus, probably looking for the BKB at this point, I'd imagine. You can see you've got the open wounds that you're going to want to be blocking. You've got the Stomp from ET. You have OD just generally being OD. Now we're talking about the Aghanim's ulti on that Elder Titan. Somebody's saying perhaps the range should be increased. I do remember old ET ulti used to have some ridiculous range. I think you could go from the T1 mid to the other T1 mid. It was something massive, almost half a lane in terms of length, quarter of a lane. Ying now getting stomped up. Open wounds is there if they need it. Going to be used as well. Ying under the tower getting slowed. Not actually going to deal much damage to him though. And he does pop the ulti. Now surrounded by 4 heroes. I think he will have to drop here. No bits coming in. Ying's turning around, but now he will have to go down. The imprisonment is there on Bloodseeker as well. Ulti there from Christopher. AT's ulti is going to stop it though, and also picking up a kill on Kunkka. So nice play by him. Fuzzy P now surrounded by 4. Going to drop to that Doom. Now Pugner on the run, taking damage from the Radiant, trying to do what he can, but still going to get dropped. Stunned, and Doom's right click finishes him off. Do apologise for my coughing. ED is indeed a fun hero to play. I do like that he is getting picked up in competitive. Simply because he is a playmaking hero. He has that stomp. And Bloodseeker. Shots fired against ET. As directed by Steven Spielberg. Doom's still not picking up the treads. Probably now with 1800 gold, he might look to pick it up. He's got... he can pick up treads and still have room for buyback as well if he wants to do that. And I can't imagine why he wouldn't at this point. He does really need some general stats, some general damage. Has opted to go for the critical strike, sparing the wolf at this point. So he is transitioning into that late game. Thos now jumping in on Lysila. Doesn't manage to block that, but now surrounded by 3 heroes. Stomp not quite there. Actually going to be cancelled, I believe. Already picking up the kill regardless on Husker. ET might go down here. It is, and no, will actually manage to... the imprisonment will last long enough to... longer than those burning spears. But Lysila can dodge the Husker ulti with his rage. I did not use it there. It may have been on cooldown. Wasn't sure. But coming to this mid game, well, it's more the coming to the later stage of the game now. That could actually be quite important. If he's able to dodge that first Husker ulti, he can turn around on Husker, have full HP. We might even have that imprisoned from OD as well. And if you can imprison Husker while he's ghost scepted, he comes out, he has no ghost scepter, and then Husker, Doom, OD, and even that lone druid can turn around him and just absolutely destroy him. Can't get picking up that last outer tower. Question is whether they want to commit to this T3 bot. It does certainly look like it. The torrent is there. The Shadow Blade hasn't been used by Kunkka. It doesn't really matter. Managed to pick up Doom anyway with that Pugner. So they can use Shadow Blade here and deal a lot of damage if need be. Lysila actually going in quite deep. Might be in trouble. He's going to rage, and that will allow him to get away. Stomp catching 2 imprisons there on the Abaddon, I believe. Down goes the ward. Husker now. There's 4 there. Boat does fly. Not going to... No, it is actually going to catch TK, in fact. Will armlet up, and that will give him plenty of HP to get away. Doesn't look like Robex. Robex's actually going to get imprisoned. But it doesn't look like Radiant really want to do anything with this. Another ward placed down. Kunkka going for the... and going to X himself back. Didn't actually... I'm not sure if he got a right click off there. Going to get imprisoned. Rage does come out from Lysila. Not actually able to pick up the ward. Going for Ying instead. Ying's ulti is popped. Bloodseeker pops his own ulti. TK very low. In jumps to Crystamine. Picking up 2 with her ulti. Immense damage there. The bear drops as well. AT buys back. But this is a farmed Crystamine. She's got mech, she's got blink, and she's got ghost scepter. And this is 30 minutes in. And a Crystamine with a fast ulti. I mean, her ulti's damage is immense. This is going to be a T3, I would imagine. Doom by himself just does not have the ability to be able to charge in like a Lysila can. OD is a lot of your AoE damage at this point. Stomp is there to buy some time. But will it be enough is a question. Husker now jumping straight in on the Doom. Gets doomed up though, but should be able to get away. The shield's there. And he is healing himself as well, indeed. I think he actually gained HP during that Doom. Now the stomp there catching to Ying very low, as is Robex. Robex did manage to get the Shadow Blade off though. Will allow him to get away. Ulti now there from the ET, going to finish up the Kunkka. Ruffle says TK. And now, with 10 seconds away from the Lifestealer, Huskar not really focusing on this Rax. They might not actually be able to pick up the Rax. Huskar going down. Bloodseeker there trying to deal what damage he can, but they're going to have to back up now. 4 seconds from the Lifestealer. He can TP in. And now Bloodseeker on the run. The lone survivor on his team going to pop the ward, try to do what he can. Now turning around, Life Drain there. He's actually going to be able to pick up the Doom with Life Drain. Looking for a kill on Nobits as well. Huskar buys back, picks him up. Now turning around, looking for Lone Druid. 4 seconds away from the ulti. There we go. Got to try and TP away. Can he manage it? No, he cannot is the answer. Doom does fight back. Lifestealer is there. And that looked like a disaster for the Dire side. But Pugner was able to turn around, pick up 2 kills for himself, I think. And then Huskar able to come in with that third. Pugner doesn't even have the Aghanims yet. If he had it there, that probably could have killed the entire team, to be honest. Thos turning around on Subtles. Going to get open wounds, though, looking for kill on Doom. Doom quite tanky, though. Thos will drop, then the Burning Spears finish off the Doombringer. Lifestealer still managing to defend that second pair of racks, and I think at this point, Dire will want to back off, go for that Roshan. Once they have the Rosh, there's basically nothing that Radiant are going to be able to do to stop them, just pushing straight in to those racks, pick them up, and once you've got 2 set of racks down, the game's basically over for the Radiant side. We are looking at... Do we have the Assault Crest coming in? We do. Assault Crest on Lifestealer is still very farm light at this point. Assault Crest will certainly give his team a lot more survivability against those Huskar's right clicks. From here, I assume we're going to be looking for the Basher, trying to get some lockdown against the Huskar, because that is one problem. You don't have a stun to deal with. If he jumps in on you, all you can really do is imprison him. You don't have a way to lock him down and right click him. Bloodseeker in a lot of trouble now, going to decrepify himself, but will drop in the end. Huskar going for the infest and popping right back out. And I believe... Okay, well, Pugner's 7th death. Going to actually go for the Eye of Skadi first. So this is, by all means, a carry Pugner. 160 right-click damage. Not that great as a carry, but when you consider this is a Pugner, I typically don't see that much farm on the hero. And sitting up at 10k net worth. It doesn't look like we are actually going to see that Roshan, though. OD going for the impression on Huskar. They're going to back up very sharply. I think realizing that there's nothing stopping Huskar now from turning around. Now actually getting chased down by 2 Lifestealers there. He's popped the phase, though. Going to look for a kill on Burning. Ghost Sceptering himself up. Still fairly high, and that's actually hurting his damage. Looking for a kill on Nobit and not going to manage it. Popping the Ghost Scepter a little too early there, I think. Ying now in some trouble, surrounded by 4, looking for a kill on Nobit. Not going to manage, though. OD picking him up instead. Fussy P is now there. Ghost Scepter. ET does pop the ulti, though, and the OD impression is going to break the ulti anyway. And now it's in trouble, which doesn't have Blink. Going to try and TP away. Not going to manage that. Goes down. Buys back almost immediately. And Bloodseeker did as well, I believe. Didn't actually get the buyback notification. Just have a look. No. Okay. Sorry, my mistake. He did go down quite a little bit earlier. I assumed at this point that it would take longer than that, but apparently not. Now, I mean, they just managed to pick up 3 heroes, force out the buyback from Christoman. Does now look that, like, finally, Dire have realized that they are in some trouble, though. Well, they will have some trouble pushing into that high ground, looking to pick up the Roshan first. 14 seconds away from Huskar to respawn. It doesn't look like Radiant have any idea that this is going on. Picking up, I believe that is indeed the first tower of the game for him. So it's starting to make a little bit of a comeback in terms of pushing back. Atos now getting picked up on ET. Not much outside of that either. I mean, he has got the drums. So yeah, other heroes' items. We saw the Maelstrom get picked up just a little bit earlier on Spirit Bear, but this is a very, very underfarmed Spirit Bear as well. I mean, typically you see... My apologies. LD go for the AC. You've already got that up on Lifestealer. Roshan now getting picked up. Huskar can pick it up if he wants to. Is thinking about it and going to sell. I didn't actually catch what he sold there. Does he have buyback? Lifestealer meanwhile picking up a kill on the Kunku, who was quite far out. But now this is a Huskar with an Aegis, with an Aghanim. He will just melt anything that Radiant try to throw up to defend at this point. But the issue is, he does need to be a little bit more hesitant with that Ghost Scepter. We saw in that last fight, he jumped in and went straight for the Ghost Scepter. The problem is, he was still on about 3/4 HP, so his right clicks weren't that quick. Instead, he should have waited until he had maybe half HP, even less than that, a quarter, and then gone, bam, straight for the Ghost Scepter. And that would have allowed him to just burst down that Doom very quickly. Instead, he he looked very lethargic in terms of how he was attacking, just casually throwing spears like he didn't really want to get the kill. But now with the Aegis, they are looking for the throw. I think they have caught the bear here. Huskar going to jump in, and you look at how much damage they take off that bear, and he's going to drop. I believe we do have a resummon. We don't, in fact, 15 seconds away. Now Lone Druid on the run as Abaddon goes in. Abaddon going for an almost carry bell with Aghanim's Maelstrom. Rubex, we haven't seen him pick up a big item after Daedalus. He has gone for the Demon Edge, perhaps the Divine, perhaps a second Daedalus L, perhaps a MKB. Now the boat does fly, going to land on... No, TK does pop the Rage in time. Doom is now there on the Bloodseeker. Ulti there from Chris Domain, dealing a lot of damage. Huskar looking for a kill, going to find it on Doom, but now going to have the Aegis pop. Fuzzy B in a lot of trouble. Ying doing what he can. Huskar is there, going to jump in on Burning, taking a lot of right click damage. Ghost Scepter still going to go to drop, as is the Bloodseeker. 5-man wipe, 6 deaths for that dire side, because that was the Aegis there as well. Lone Druid now buying back, and Radiant are going to look to push as hard as they possibly can. I would imagine that somebody is drawing lines down that mid lane saying, let's take out this tower, let's take out this tower, let's try and Rax. Now whether they will be able to Rax, I mean, you've got 40 seconds, you don't have the strongest pushing lineup for that Radiant side, not a huge deal of OD outside of that, of AoE outside of that Elder Titan, but you will certainly get that at least first T1. And probably the G2, I mean, we're sitting at about 20 seconds away from the Abaddon's respawn. There's not much he can do by himself. Kunker is about 20 seconds away as well. He will have a bit of a better time. The the Fortify has actually been popped as well, so they might well be able to push into that second T2, but they're not going to be able to take that T3, certainly not the Rax at this point. Let's look at 20 seconds away from Huskar. At this point, you don't have the ulti there on Lysilla. They are going to pick up that T2. And it does look like they wanted to back up indeed. I think realizing that while they can certainly take on anything that Dire want to throw at them when they try and gain high ground, trying to force high ground against that team will probably be their death. Especially with this, you have got that Kunker boat, you've got that Kunker Tidebringer splash damage. Does he have money for buyback? I'll actually bring up the buyback graphs, because that does seem the most relevant at this point. So we have buyback up on Lysilla on OD. It's not there on the Huskar. He still needs about 1,000 gold. Picking up the Ochre Club, my apology. Going for the Howard, in fact. I can certainly understand why, because right-click damage is now really becoming an issue for him. We saw in that last fight, I mean, he picked up the Doom, but the problem is he then went down, and from there was nothing he could do to stop the rest of the Radiant side just ganging up on him and absolutely destroying him, and that is the big problem with the Huskar. While he's very, very good in small skirmishes, he'll jump on somebody and just blow them up straight away. When you get into protracted fight, and certainly when you get into protracted games where the carries especially get tanky enough to live through that Huskar Ghost Scepter, it turns from Huskar just being able to kill people to Huskar almost killing people, but then having 4 people turn around and just right-click him down. And especially with Radiant's lineup at this point, I mean, this is really a 4-core, you could even say a 5-core lineup, because ET can get some very nasty physical damage. Now going in on that Doom, he doesn't have a Shadow Blade, so one Frostbite will be able to catch him indeed. Ulti from Huskar, decrypt, and Puglin's going to get the kill. Doom does fly out on Crystal Rain. Do we have the buyback on Doom? We don't. So I think he realized he didn't have the buyback. He wanted to try and at least buy some time for his team. Still about 60 seconds away from respawn. Now in that last fight, that Doom went out on the Pugner, and that meant he couldn't get that life drain off. He He still doesn't have the Aghanim's, but a large gem is still a lot of damage. TK going straight in on the Bloodseeker. Bloodseeker going to decrypt himself. Now they're turning around, trying to right-click TK down. Not going to manage those. Stomp now there from ET. Going to catch Ying, indeed, drawing him back. Huskar now going in, blowing up the Lifestealer. Pugner actually getting the kill. Now another Huskar ulti. OD ulti does come out. Ying very low indeed. Thos has popped his Ghost Scepter, gets stomped though. Now tried desperately to get away. Turning around, gets right-clicked down by ET. Christabane trying to get away. She did some ulti with it. She did some damage with ulti, but nowhere near enough. Now TK looking for a kill, going to throw out open wound. Frostbite is there, but she's still 3 seconds. Stop going to hit as well, and that is a dead CM indeed. Not able to blink out in time. Kunker's still alive, pushing away in that top lane. Pugner's still up as well, going to be able to TP out, and this is going to be at least one rack. Subtitles quite low, going to drop indeed to Robex. Now Robex in some trouble. Will not be able to get the racks, unfortunately. Look at 19, 20 HP. One more right click would have sealed the deal. In fact, if he hadn't taken the time to go for ET, probably would have gotten it. But wasn't sure if ET was going to be able to lay him with that stomp, I think. Unfortunate for them, but it does mean that we've now got that second lane of melee racks now. So I'd say nice play by Kunker. Him being in the fight may have made a difference, but at the same time it may not have. He wasn't sure, and so he would have wanted to guarantee a rack down instead of hoping that they won the fight. And indeed, I mean, we saw in that last fight, so the fight before when we had the Aegis up, that even with a good bow, he wasn't able to swing the fight in his team's favor. And that Bloodseeker in a lot of trouble. Doom going to pick him up, and now that's 5 down. Most of them went down in the last fight, so Huskar's going to be up, Christabane's going to be up, and indeed Kunker should be up in time. But the problem is, Pugner going down there means you don't have the ward, you don't have that damage from Life Drain. And you're not going to have that Decrepify, which allows Huskar to just blow a hero up so quickly. I mean, we saw on that bear, it took a bear that was on full health down to a quarter. If he jumps on pretty much anybody outside the Lifestealer, and even the Lifestealer if Rage is on cooldown, he will just destroy them instantly. NKB now getting picked up on the Kunker. That is indeed the build he's going for. Pugner has picked up his Aghanims as well. So now, the question is if they can pick up Doom. I think picking up Doom before going into fight is going to be the crucial factor. AT's ulti is certainly nice. OD's ulti is certainly nice in terms of AoE damage. Nyx is certainly a strong hero, but it's Doom more than anybody else. Doom is also roaming quite far out. Picking out Lifesteal would probably also secure the fight for that Radiant side. Now, Huskar jumping in. Not 100% sure who he hit there, actually. Going in on the bear, though. I think he may have hit a creep there, because it didn't seem like Lone Druid lost much health. Now, Nyx inside one of those creeps. Probably looking to blow up maybe the Doom or the OD if they go to farm. Kunker now looking for a kill. He does have the X, but I think realizing there's just too many there for him to deal with. And Lifestealer is indeed going to pop out. TP away. Don't make me buy Abyssal. Says that Bloodseeker. And I mean, he is going, as I said before, for the carry build, Iascati. And Abyssal will give you that lockdown against Lifestealer. The problem is that you're plugged, you have to kind of waddle in as a very squishy hero and try and get the stun off before Lifestealer with an Abyssal of his own locks you down. My apologies. Now, Torrent going to catch True. That will allow Kunker to get away. How long do we have on Rosh? About a minute indeed. The ticketing came up just then. About 50 seconds now left. It doesn't look like Thos wants to wait though. Going for the kill. TK moving in. I think trying to pick up the ward. The ward is still there though. Now, this is going to be an issue for the OD. Just doing harass damage. Although Huskar now goes in on the Doom, he's going to get doomed up as well. He has Ghost Scepter, but he can't use it. He's doomed after all. Lifestealer picking up the kill. AT ulti going to land onto Ying, going in as deep as he can. Now the slow on Christabane. She does have her ulti, going to Ghost Scepter. Go for the ulti. Not quite going to drop, but Doom's Radiance finishing off anyway in the nick of time. Bloodseeker now going to TP away. Not going to manage that. In fact, Stomp and the Imprison going to the layer. Now Bloodseeker in sun trouble, going to go for the live drone. He has decrept himself up, looking for a kill. Now surrounded by two. A second away from the decrep. Another one is there. And not going to be able to pick up no bits. He does have the ult, he can use it as well, but going to get sleep. The Crep once again, going again for a life drain, and he can still turn around. It's got 0 cooldown, going for burning as well, going to get delayed. It's still there though, and he can just keep draining. He doesn't have much mana left, and taking a lot of right click damage, and that, in the end, is going to be a dead Pugna. But that took a very, very long time, thanks to judicious use of that life drain. Question is whether that's bought enough time. I'd say so. I mean, you've got 30 seconds away from that Pugna respawn. AT lamenting that he can't really do much at this point. He has picked up the ultimate on looking for that She-Stick, and because we still don't have that BKB up on the Husker, I think he basically has to get that next, because he's just taking too much damage from the OD, as we saw. Now the X is going to be there on Kyanka, and it's going to bring back the Lundra, but not the bear, unfortunately. So the bear not able to deal the damage though, because LD didn't continue chasing. Meant that the bear couldn't get any more right clicks in for another entangle. Husker now bot. I would like to see them go for that Roshan there. Roshan is after all up. Knight's going in on your top lane as well. He does have a TP, but it's still going to take him some time to get there, because he has to TP back to base to be able to do anything about it. Does manage to pick up the T2. It looks like Husker does want to go on Rosh, in fact, at least heading that way. We don't have vision in the area either, and he's heading into that pit now. Now this is the last set of racks. The question is whether Radiant are going to hold that line. We saw them do it before, certainly. That was with a Doom on Pugna. And Pugna now, with the Aghanim, is even more of a big damage dealer. TK actually going straight in on Ying. He's going to pop the ulti. TK now going to try and get away. He has the ulti, but no creeps around for him to jump into. Going to rage straight out and going to try and TP away. Will succeed in that. Ulti there from Christopher. But because he was raged, wasn't going to do much damage to it. Thos now going in on that. Roshan will be able to pick it up. Indeed, there we go. Aegis for him. No cheese as of yet. It's only the second time that it's gone down. Robex now, we saw him pick up the MKB. He has gold for buyback, but he did use it earlier. Husker gold for buyback indeed. He's probably going to be wanting to save that with the boot to travel. That's going to give him 3 lives effectively in a fight. He can jump in on one person, blow them. He might die then, but he'll have the Aegis. He comes back again, blows up a second hero. Now Knight's looking for a kill on Bloodseeker, and he probably will find that the Doom's there, going to stop Pugna from pulling any kind of shenanigans, and down he's going to go. And now I don't think that Dyer can really commit without the Pugna. He's just such a crucial form of damage at this point. Rob's now in some trouble. Will be able to Shadow Blade away though. Ying looking to push in that. I think they're just trying to, now that they know that they can't commit to a push bot, they're going to back off. Look for, just try and keep all those lanes pushed in. And to try and draw Radiant's heroes away, because if Radiant go into fight without all 5 of their players, I think they will lose. There's simply too much damage on the Dire side at this point. You've got the Husker, who can, any individual hero he can blow up and just destroy. Outside of possibly the Doom, you can turn around and Doom him. But even then, Huskar's right click damage alone is, 200 a pop. Now the Abyssal coming out on Thos, but he's going to turn around. The ulti's there from Christopher, and that's going to be TK dead, burning as well. And that's 2 very important kills. Do we have buyback? We do not on that Lone Drill. We do on the Nikes, and used almost immediately. But that's going to mean that Nikes only is down to 1 life in this fight. Husker, Aegis was not popped there. He has buyback as well, as I said earlier. Actually, in fact, he has bought something up, so not going to have Aegis, have buyback, unfortunately. That's still 2 lives compared to Nikes' 1. If he can get 2 kills in this fight, he should also have enough for buyback anyway. And certainly, if he jumps into somebody, blows them up. We had the Doom used earlier as well. 5 seconds away from that. He has Refresher now, so he can go for the Doom on both Husker and the Pugna. That's probably what he's going to be looking to do. And both now flying from the Kunkka. And that is Stomp catching too. Doom is there on Thos and on Christopher, so Christopher is not going to be able to. Robek's taking a lot of damage, going to get picked up. Ying now surrounded by 4, healing his way up. Thos now Abyssal and will drop. He has the Aegis. Ember is now coming out on the Pugna, I believe. No, it's Ying. He is there. And Husker jumping in. He needed to back off there. He's going to drop. Pugna, the only person on his team still alive, wasn't even present in that fight. So, I mean, we may well have to wait until that next Rosh now, because I don't see... I mean, we just saw that Huskar tried to throw himself in and just got ground up almost immediately by all those right clicks. He does need to be looking for that BKB next, I feel. He has picked up the ultimate orb. So I assume Sheepstick. I can't think why he'd be going for Sheepers at this point, because people getting away isn't really the issue. The problem is he needs survivability. He needs a way to stop himself getting locked down. And BKB, touching both those regards. Kunga, I think, realizing that, going for his BKB. We are looking at 50 seconds away from the Huskar. No buyback, as I said earlier. Don't have buyback on Kunga either. And buying the BKB may well have been a mistake. Now Doom TPing back, realizing that bot is going to be an issue with Pugner. Don't have the Doom there. And Bloodseeker just going straight for the life drain. Going to get entangled. That's going to delay him, and that's surrounded by 3. Will indeed drop, I think, to Doom Radiance damage. Meanwhile, T3 going down mid. Lifestealer just powering away at that first rack. And that's going to be a second as well. 50 seconds away from Huskar respawn. And TK, I think, realizing not going to get a second rack, is opting to TP back into his base. Go back to defending. Now, this is pretty crucial because it suddenly means that mid lane goes back to being an even fight. I mean, you look at Gold is also swinging back quite heavily after that last fight. Now less than 1,000 in the Dire's favour. XP, in fact, has swung up quite a while ago in Radiant's favour. Because they are winning pretty much every single fight now at this point. The problem is that quite often, I mean, up until that last fight, they were just losing too many to really go for a push. But now with that first Rax, it's really going to open up the game from it in terms of how well they can push. Because no longer do they have to TP back to defend 2 lanes. They've got a single lane to worry about now in that top. That's the only one that's going to be consistently pushing. And they've only got a single set of racks to worry about defending as well. And it is often the case that the third can sometimes be the most difficult racks to take down, simply because every single hero, as soon as you try and push down into that lane, every single hero from the defending team is just going to show up there and shove you back into your base. Focus the Mountain King, says Thos. But there is no Zeus in this game, so I don't understand what he's talking about. Okay, as you said, got buyback. Got the BKB. Doesn't have gold for buyback, but one more creep wave will do it. Although he has a lot of unreliable gold, so he's going to need a kill, I think, to be able to secure buyback. Indeed, sitting about 800 gold away. In fact, if he goes down, simply thanks to death. Got Huskar, no buyback of his own. They are looking for this Rax. If they can get the melee Rax, they may well be able to finish the game. Boat going to fly, not landing on anything, but it will buff up all of Robex's team. Abyssal now used on Robex, not on Huskar, and Huskar is going to get sheeped up. Turning around, looking for a kill on, though, but it's getting sheeped once again. Robex surrounded, going to get popped. Huskar has popped the Ghost Scepter, jumping in on, though, but it's taking some damage from the ulti, not Musha, getting surrounded by 2, going to drop Ying on the run. And Bloodseeker wasn't even there. Bloodseeker needs to be in this fight, and to be honest, this is part of what is really costing. Did you not die, says Thos. Perhaps talking about the OD, I'm not 100% sure. But, I mean, Huskar needs to be in these fights. Sorry, not Huskar. The Pugner needs to be in these fights. In his last 2 fights, he hasn't been present. He is an absolutely immense source of damage with the orb. He blows up OD. He has the ulti as well. Now, might actually be in some trouble, surrounded by 2. Surrounded by 3, in fact, turned into a sheep. In jumps like Crystal Man, going to go for the Ghost Scepter. TK has popped Rage. You're going to take a decent amount of damage there. Now the level going to disrupt the ulti on Crystal Man now, and she's trying to get away from 3-4 hero surrounded and goes down to Doom Radiance damage. Massive misplay by that Pugner, to be honest. I would say that he's really thrown him the game at this point. And indeed, it looks like Radiant with 30 seconds on that Kunga, just going to go straight for the throne. 4 carries worked out in your favour, and indeed, that is the big problem with Huskar. He does struggle to scale well into that late game because he has no real answer to physical damage, or indeed just right-click damage from somebody like an OD. They had the big game advantage, but they weren't able to force it enough. They weren't able to get that last set of racks. They ground themselves up against those racks 2-3. I think that was the 4th fight we saw there. Perhaps even the 5th. And in the end, the late game advantage that Radiant had just proved to be way too much for the Huskar to handle by himself. So, thank you for watching. My name has been Fire525, and I will catch you next time.